All right. I think we are officially live. I'm going to open up my chat here. If you guys can hear me okay, mind dropping a line in the chat saying hey. Jay-Z's here. All right. We're going to get going in just a second here. Hey, Ben. Preston's here. Great. There, that's what I was waiting for. Awesome. We're going to be getting going in just a couple seconds here. I'm going to let people start trickling in. And we have got a good show. Look at that. Everybody's saying hello now. Hey, Stu. The actual Bay Area member. Stu, have you actually been to a live AWE Nite SF show? All right. Got Gilbert from San Jose. What's up, Gilbert? Giving it one more minute. All right, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Hopefully this works out okay. All right, so I can't see the chat anymore, but hopefully my screen is being shared and all is well. All right. Well, hey, everybody. Welcome to AWE Nite SF online, where we will be focusing on Adobe Aero and shining the spotlight on Aero's all-new web-based app clips feature today. I'm Patrick Johnson, co-organizer of AWE Nite SF and CEO of Rock Paper Reality. Before we get started, I'd like to welcome everybody to use the chat function. You know, in real life, we would be actually networking and mingling in real life, but we've got the chat here today. So introduce yourself, connect with other people, and let's keep this conversation going over the chat. And also, please, like throughout the presentations, be dropping in questions for the presenters. We're going to have a little bit of time at the end. I'll be keeping track of the questions, and some of the presenters might even be answering in real time, but we'll definitely have time to walk through the questions, and it's really great to be able to have those conversations at the end of the show. So, AWE Nite SF, for those who don't know, is used to be a physical in-person event. We've got actually some physical in-person shows planned for early next year. I know many of you have been asking about that, so don't worry, they're coming. But it's actually part of a much greater community, and there's chapters all around the world. I think we've got 32 chapters as of now, so it's growing fast, as you can see from the map. And each one is independently run by folks like you. So if you're from somewhere and there isn't an AWE chapter already started, feel free to reach out and see about starting one yourself. And if there is one near you, I totally recommend getting involved. They're a great place to kind of connect with other folks that are excited about AR and immersive technology, developing it, and for some of you, investing in it. As you all know, we are on AWE Live now, which is AWE's new platform for all these events where they're being showcased. So always be checking in for the latest and greatest from AWE and the new events that are coming out. We've got some in-person shows through AWE coming up. If you haven't already got your tickets for AWE US, it's in May 31st to June 2nd in Santa Clara. Definitely recommend getting your tickets. Also, we have AWE Asia in Singapore, AWE EU in Vienna on October 24th next year. And once again, AWE.live is always here with our virtual shows. I'm gonna go ahead and skip ahead, but we also have the recordings up from AWE Lisbon here, so on live. So feel free to go ahead and check out some of the AWE Europe show if you haven't had a chance to visit in person or miss some of the shows or want to go relive the awesomeness. Another upcoming event that we have on AWE Live is with Ted Shilowitz, Ronnie Abovitz from Magic Leap, and then Charlie Fink. So this is going to be a really awesome show with a lot of heavy hitters. So I totally recommend checking out that show. Also, there's AWE Academy, where it's a great place to be able to get some hands-on experience and learn some new skills in immersive. I teach a show, an event. It's a two-day workshop using with Web AR, and that show is actually now available to purchase online. You can actually just get the live the video recordings of it, and I totally recommend it. It was probably my best performance to date. Our speakers were amazing, and so you're not even going to get better in live. And I would definitely recommend checking out that two-day course. And of course, please do share on social, hashtag AWE Nite SF. We had a ton of new people signing up for the meetup, which was great. I think I saw probably like 20-30 people just sign up for AWE Nite SF on meetup just in the last couple of days, which was fantastic. So please keep spreading the word. We've been teetering around the 5,000 mark. I think I've been saying this for a year now, and I'd really love to get over the 5,000 mark. That's been my goal for the year. I didn't achieve it, but spread the word and let's help grow this community out. So last update from my end is if you are a content creator or just have some fantastic ideas around how to use XR to fight climate change, submissions are coming up on the 100,000K contest that AWE is running right now. So please do submit your idea and enter for a prize. All right, that's the end of this show. So today we've got some of the Adobe team here. We've got Ben Sachs that's going to kick us off, who's the creative producer from Adobe. And then we'll have James Zachary, followed by Preston Platt, who's going to walk you through a Ben & Jerry's experience that was developed during Aero. But I'm going to stop sharing here because I can't see what's happening, and turn it over to Ben Sachs. Please welcome Ben to the virtual stage.
Hey there. Thanks for having me. Let me get my presentation up for everyone. 1 second. Okay. Let's see. Can everybody see this okay? Okay. Great. So yeah, hi everybody. I'm Ben Sachs. I'm the creative producer for Adobe Aero and for other products at Adobe's 3D and Immersive division. And today I want to just introduce you to Aero for those of you who haven't had a chance to check it out yet. So Aero is AR for everyone. We're building a platform. We've built it. And it's one of the fastest and easiest ways for everyday creators, any sort of artist or creator that's comfortable with the Adobe platform, to deploy interactive mobile AR experiences without needing any lines of code. And so we do this through an ecosystem of a bunch of different devices. We can author, publish, and view in AR on iOS utilizing ARKit. We can also do authoring on desktop for Mac and Windows. And then finally, we can also view, we have a viewer on Android as well. And so the coolest thing about Aero is this no-code environment. It really empowers creators to make things without having to really be worried about the technical aspects. If you're used to building interactive things in a way that's more behavior-based. We have a really great set of solutions to make it really easy for you to add interactivity to your 3D experiences. And one of the cool things too is that we support all the standard content that you'd expect for an Adobe platform. So if you develop something in Photoshop, in Illustrator, or After Effects, there are workflows that can get those animations and graphics right into your Aero experience to add behaviors and then to publish. And then we also obviously support all of the 3D tools or the 3D formats like GLB, OBJ, FBX. We're kind of there for you to mix and match 2D and 3D content really easily on your own. And then obviously you can pull in stock photos and things as well. The big revolution of what we've launched this year is called App Clip. And App Clip is our way of distributing augmented reality experiences with the native performance of an app you might download from the App Store with the easy onboarding that you'd find in a web app. And we do this through a feature on iOS called App Clip, and we also have an Android Instant App that's on its way for 2023. And essentially what it does is it lets you download a micro-sized engine that then can load up your Aero experience without having Aero physically installed on your phone. And we really think this is a revolutionary way to deliver AR and give people the type of performance that really sells the medium for what it can be. And the cool thing about app clips as well is all the different ways in which you can distribute an app clip, because essentially all we're sending out is a link. So, and we've done all sorts of different ways to activate our app clip experiences. You can use NFC tags, QR codes, embed them in maps, send them via text message. And it's a really simple and easy flow to get you into an AR experience quickly. So for example, if you see there's a QR code on screen right now, this was an experience that we developed for the Adobe Max conference back in October. And this was done with an agency called Unit 9, and it was essentially our invite to Max. And what was great is we found other ways to activate that experience across Max, including signage around the event. And also, if any of you attended Max, there's actually a QR code embedded on the back of the hoodie that you received that will automatically activate that app clip. So I'd encourage you all to take a second, scan the QR code. If you have an iOS device, it should automatically open the app clip, even if you don't have Aero installed. So I'll leave that up for about 10 more seconds. Also, just double checking to see that I am presenting okay and everybody can hear me. Yes? Okay, great. Okay, so let's go on to the next slide. And so really what we see as the future for Aero is how do you create these bite-sized augmented reality experiences that can exist everywhere in the world and make it really easy for people to get there without having to go through App Store downloads and without really having to be worried about social platforms or anything else. We are a system that exists outside of the social networks. You can distribute your experience via the social networks if you'd like, but in the end, we can exist outside of all those ecosystems and just be a really great generic way to get small, easy to use AR experiences out in front of you. And with that, I'd like to take a second to highlight the Ben & Jerry's projects. Actually, hold on one sec. What I think we should do next is, do you want to play that, Goopy, can we play that video that I uploaded of the Ben & Jerry's experience? So just to kind of give you a taste of the type of advanced experiences you can create, there's an app launch into the Ben & Jerry's experience. This is an experience that our friends at Rocket Reality made for us to help celebrate a Ben & Jerry's project, Ben & Jerry's product called their Sunday line of products, which was a layered product. And the idea was, how do we create a story experience that lets you understand the composition of the ice cream using all the amazing powers of the Adobe suite, including all of the amazing tools that come to the table with Adobe Substance. And so with that, I'll pass it on to my friend Jay-Z, who's our director of animation. He's going to be walking you through how to create an experience in Aero from beginning to end, all the way to from conception to publishing. So we can switch over to Jay-Z.
Hello, can you guys hear me? Ben, give me a thumbs up.
I can hear you.
Sweet. All right, let me present my screen. Here we go. Okay, so there's my screen. You guys see yourself. So this is what we're going to work on today. I have 20 minutes to kind of walk through this demo. This demo, this dragon, we actually used on our keynote during Adobe Max. Was blowing up on the big screen, kind of walking through all of our Substance suite. and we used it. We brought it over to Aero and created a little augmented reality experience. So I'm going to walk you through quickly on how to kind of build this whole scene and walk you through Aero, so you can see kind of how simple it is to get started, but how advanced you want to go and how deep you want to go, which Preston will take and kind of show you what we did with the Ben and Jerry's piece. Cool. So this is what Aero looks like when you first open it up. It's pretty much your standard 3D plane there. We're going to go really fast. So if there's any questions, I can't see the chat, so just save them to the end or capture them and I'll come back to them at the end here too. So let me actually start my timer as well, because I'll talk forever about this stuff. It's the way I am. So I'm going to stay under 20 minutes. All right. So here we go. This is the easiest way to bring in assets into Aero. You can actually use this plus button here, but then you have to navigate out. So I usually just save them all in one folder. And we're going to start by bringing in our boulder, which is a GLB that was created inside Modeler. So here it is in all of its glory. It's a rock. Let's scale that up to 6 because I want it to be a little bigger. So that's our rock. Nothing very exciting, but let's drag our dragon in our hero piece right here. We'll drop that in, and there is our dragon. And this is a, oops, I didn't grab the dragon. Let's scale up to 6. And if I hit F, it'll frame it. I'm just going to quickly position him on the rock because it's just a demo. It doesn't have to be perfect. The dragon was created inside Modeler. The materials are done in Substance Painter. Then we actually rigged it and animated it inside Maya. And then I saved out all the animations into one GLB. So we'll use those throughout this experience here. Now, I could have also saved them out. I could have saved out more of a traditional route. I know a lot of people here maybe use Unity, where you save out, a character in this T-pose, and then you bring in the animations as FBX joint data. You could do that here as well. I just did it this way because it's easier for a demo. I don't have to keep pulling in assets. So here's our scene. It's ready to rock. If I hit preview, you can kind of see what it looks like, what it looked like for the viewer. Not in AR, obviously, but we'll get there. So I need to add some triggers to this, right? Because we want it interactive. We want it to breathe. We want it to kind of do some stuff. So down here, this is called Behavior Builder. This is where we actually add our triggers and our actions. And now a trigger will actually fire off an action, and action is what happens in the scene. And we have 4 triggers in Aero right now. We have a start trigger, which will basically start the whole, fire off the action as soon as the experience starts. We have a tap trigger, which will fire off an action as soon as the viewer taps on something. And then we have an enter and exit proximity, which will basically fire off an action when you enter into a certain radius around a selected object, or it'll fire off an action when you leave a certain area. It all works great. But I'm going to use start first. So now I have an action on start. And now down here, I need to tell it which action, or sorry, I have a trigger. Now I need to tell what action to play. These are all the actions we have inside Aero. I'm going to start with a play animation. So I get this little warning first because I had not selected a subject over here. So if I click this, you'll see our drop down. I have the boulder in the scene, and I have our dragon, our Aero dragon. You can see him up here too in our scene graph. I'm going to select our dragon. And now we have our animation set, which again, I baked all these into one animation so that I have clips rather than animation sets. But if I wanted to add and bring in the joint data, this is where I'd do that. I'd just navigate out here, select the joint data, and bring it in as an animation. But again, to make it fast, I have it all here. So we have a fidget for our dragon. It kind of looks around and comes back to the idle. We have a fly animation, which we're going to use a little bit later with the dragon's flying. We have an idle animation, which is, your classic, I'm breathing, standing there forever. And then we have a stretch, and this is the stretch here. So we're going to use all these. Cool. So at the start of the scene, I actually want the dragon to do the fidget. So he looks around, and then I want him to go into idle. And so inside Behavior Builder, we can actually stack actions on top of each other. So I could stack a bunch here, or I can kind of go in a more of a kind of timeline route and actually add animations horizontally. So I'm going to do that now. So it'll play this action, which is the fidget, and then we're going to go into the actual idle animation. So I'm going to say play animation again. Again, I did not have the dragon selected, so I need to make sure my subject is set to the dragon. And then I'm going to go to idle. So now if this plays, when I hit start, it's actually going to play this first fidget, and then it'll go into the idle. Now, there's all sorts of settings in here, pretty self-explanatory. We have clip length, so I could make it shorter, or I could change the speed of the animation. one thing I want to highlight is I wanted to have this animation go forever. So I'm going to click infinite. So that allows, if the viewer is just sitting there staring at the scene, it'll just keep going and going. So that's great. Now, if we hit preview, we'll actually see that happen. The dragon looks around and he's going to go into idle, which is right there. He went into idle. So now it'll stay in there until we actually tell it to come out of there, which we'll do now. So we're going to add our second trigger. Let's actually select the dragon. We're going to come down here and we're going to hit a tap trigger. And now we need to add an action. So we have a tap on the dragon, and the action we're going to add this time, we're going to add another play animation. We're going to come over here and our animation set is our dragon, and we're going to come down here to stretch. So when I select stretch and I hit play, it's going to do this little thing here, which is great. We're going to add some more before we test it too. I want to add a sound. So when it stretches, I want them to kind of roar as well. So we saw us kind of put these horizontal actions together on top. Here, we're going to stack them. So come underneath here, and you're going to hit this plus button, and I'm going to say play animation. I'm sorry, not play animation. I'm going to play audio. So I could change that here because I made a mistake by selecting it there. I'm going to play audio. My subject is going to be the dragon. And this is important because this is so fun about our audio inside Aero. It's three-dimensional. So if I'm close to the object, it's going to be really loud. If I'm farther away, it's going to be super quiet. Or if it flew around my head, you could actually hear it, kind of the sound go through your left ear, come around your back, go to your right ear. It's pretty fun to play with that. Anyways, so our audio clip, I need to tell Aero which audio clip to play. So I could either use a preset, or I come in here, I'm going to grab my own because I created one called Dragon Growl. I'll hit open. And if I play it here, you'll be able to hear it. It's pretty loud. But yeah, that's the dragon roar. So let's just change it to 70. We could bring in the file format for audio is WAV file, which is heavy because it's not compressed, or we can bring in an MP3, which I highly recommend because it's compressed. So now if we preview it, we'll see our dragon do its thing. And when I tap on it, which I can do right now, he goes into that kind of stretch and we hear the roar. And we're getting close to where we could actually publish this, but let's add a couple more things. This is supposed to feel like the dragon's on top of like a mountaintop or something. So I'm going to add some clouds underneath here as an animated PNG sequence. So you can kind of get a little bit of a video feel to it. So I'm going to grab my clouds final, and this is a animated PNG sequence that I created in After Effects. It is just all zipped up inside here. If I double click on one of these, you can see kind of what it looks like. It looks like a little puff of smoke. But when all played together, it'll look like clouds kind of just billowing. Now I could have done this as a GIF as well, except for I find I have a lot more control as a PNG sequence. So that's how I usually do it. And it could be smaller. I kind of got crazy there. But anyways, I'm going to drag and drop that into our scene. And it's going to load. And there we have it. Let me change the pivot. I'm going to put the pivot to the center. I'm going to change the size to 1. And then I'm going to rotate it so it's on the floor. Actually, it's probably easier if I just type this in to -90. And then I'll slam it to the floor. Boom. Now, if I preview this now, we actually will just see that one first PNG. Okay, so I need to tell Aero, hey, I want you to play the PNG sequence. So I'm going to do that up here in the start. I'm actually going to come here at this plus button to add another action on that start trigger. And I'm going to say play images. In the subject, I'm going to select our clouds. This is the only PNG sequence we have in the scene. So that's all that comes down in the subject dropdown. I'm going to grab it here. I could trim it if I want to. I do need to change the frame rate because I did not animate it at 1 frame per second. I did it 15 frames per second. If I hit this plus button, you'll actually see a preview of it. So you can kind of see how it's billowing there. And then I do need to come down here and click infinite. Now I'm going to take a second to, I want to highlight this because this is an issue. I even get stuck with this sometimes too. The way Aero handles behavior builder, it will not move over to this next block until it finishes this block here, because these are together in one block, which means this fidget animation is 4.87 seconds long, but our cloud animation is set to infinite. So it'll never transfer over to this next action. I can fix that by grabbing the cloud and I can just move it down. You can see that little blue line. If I drop it here, it now moved it out of that block. So now this will move over just fine, and this will continue to play. And if you want to, you can kind of move this wherever you want. It's just kind of drag and drop, which is kind of fun. But now if I play it, it'll go on forever, and you'll see the kind of billowing cloud, which is super fun. Now I want to add more dragons to this scene. How much time are we doing? So what's fun about this is now the dragon, though it is a heavy asset, so let's actually look how heavy it is. We have, it's 20 megs. That's a little heavy. I got a little crazy with that. We probably could have compressed it a little bit with the materials. But once I have it loaded, I can actually copy that dragon, and it makes an instant copy of that dragon. Therefore, it does not bloat my scene size. So if I come down here and hit this plus button or this duplicate selection, I created another dragon. And it did not bloat my scene size. It's the exact same scene size as before, which is awesome. So we want to add a bunch of dragons kind of flying around the boulder down here. So I'm going to, let me change this name. So let's call this dragon small. And we'll call it 1. Okay. And we're going to change the size. So let's change the size to like 2. And let's move it down below. So it's a little closer to the rock. And we'll move it over a little bit and maybe up. And that looks good. So we're going to add a whole new set of triggers for this dragon here. Now I could add, okay, good thing here. One thing I want to take a step back. I got a little ahead of myself. Caffeine will do that. Since I duplicated the dragon, not only did it duplicate it, it also duplicated the actions on that dragon. So this is great if I wanted to duplicate like this cloud here. I could duplicate it. I could rotate it. And it has all the actions. So when I hit play, you'll actually see that it'll have 2 of these, which is awesome. It accelerates some things. However, since I want to make this dragon completely different than the big dragon, than the Papa Dragon, I need to delete these actions before I start kind of creating my own. So I'm just going to select them. I'm going to hit delete. And then I'm going to remove this tap as well, because that was set for this big dragon. So now we just have a dragon that's just going to sit there like this. And we're going to add some behaviors to it to bring it alive. So let's do it. We're going to come down here. I could add it to the start, this trigger on top. I usually like to keep my triggers kind of separated. So this start trigger is kind of for the Papa Dragon. So I'm going to create another start trigger just for like the smaller baby dragons. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to add a start trigger. Again, I could just put it all underneath this one start trigger, but it helps me mentally to kind of like separate them a little bit. So that's how I like to work. So I'm going to add an animation. I'm going to add an action first. Action, play animation. I'm going to come on over here. I'm going to fly. And this is our fly animation, which is my favorite one. So the dragon's flying. Let's set that to infinite. So we'll come down here, select infinite. So it'll just keep flying and flying. And if we preview it, we can see the dragon flying and flying. But it doesn't look right because it's not orbiting around the boulder or doing any other things. So let's add some extra behaviors. So now let's add a orbit. So we're going to come over here. We're going to say orbit. Boom. I get this little warning sign because I do not have the actual dragon selected. So I will come over here. I will choose, oops. Oh, sorry. I didn't have the object it's going to orbit around. So let's change that to the boulder. Let's go duration. Let's say 8 seconds. These are our animation curves. If we want something to loop, we have to set it to linear, or else it slows down and speeds up at the start and end of each of those loops, which we do not want. So we'll go linear. And I wanted to go counterclockwise because I wanted to go this way. I don't know why, but that looked right to me instead of the other way. And I'm going to have this go forever. So if I hit infinite, it'll go forever. And we can hit preview. And we can see now that the dragon is orbiting around the boulder, but it is not facing the correct direction. Usually, from what I've experienced, dragons actually face where they're flying, according to my research. So let's actually set that now. So I have our dragon selected, which makes it highlighted in blue over here. I'm going to add one more action in the stack. I'm going to say rotate, and then I'm going to come over here. I got the dragon. I'm going to rotate 360 degrees because we want to go a complete circle. The duration, I can set to 8 because that's what we have for our duration around the boulder there. And I do want to change my easing. Let's change this to linear, and we'll set this to infinite. And now we should actually be able to see it fly around the boulder, which is great. That looks fun. And if we tap the dragon, it does its roar. We have our billowing clouds underneath here. It is looking pretty fun. So let's add one more aspect to this dragon before we go into how to publish and share. So the dragon moves around, the baby dragon, it flies, but I want to kind of bob up and down a little more. So I'm going to use this bounce. This is a fun action to use just when you want to give like a hovering effect or kind of a moving up and down. It's called bounce, but I use it mostly for like hover. So it works great. So we want to make sure we have our dragon selected, and we want it to move up 10 centimeters might be too much. So let's go to 5. We hit preview, you can kind of see what that looks like. Yeah, that'll work. And let's go duration. Let's set this to 4. Now, we don't want linear this time because otherwise it'll come up, stop quickly, come down, stop quickly. We want to ease in, ease out. So we're just going to ease to the end, and then it's going to ease back into the motion. This will make it feel better. And we want to go infinite. So now if we watch it, we'll see all this stuff. So we have our dragon flapping going around the boulder. We have the rotations correct, and it's playing that kind of bounce animation that goes up and down. Cool. So we're cooking. Let's actually make one more dragon because it's so easy. I'm just going to hit this duplicate button. Now that dragon has been duplicated again, and it is not bloating my scene size. I'm just going to rotate it around here. And, you know, we can do all sorts of stuff to make this dragon feel a little different. We could change the scale to 1.8. Now it copied all the behaviors, which is awesome. So if I want to say play animations, I can make the animation a little faster. So if I want him to go 1.2 speed, and the bounce, I could change the bounce on this so it's not as high. So you see how I'm going on here. We can kind of change some stuff, kind of make the dragons feel a little different. So they're not exactly the same. So here it is. This is our scene, how it's looking. And I'm going to show you how to publish it now, which is pretty awesome. So let's exit back out to the edit mode. So when you're ready to publish, you want to use this shared button here. Now I'm going to click share. And this is our publishing screen. This is the thumbnail your viewer will see right before they enter into the augmented reality experience. So you could keep this one. It's not that great, not very exciting. I highly recommend adding your own here, kind of like, you know, a book cover. You really want to set the tone before they start the experience. So I'm going to click change image, and I have one already. That's a render from our Max keynote, which is the dragon here. It looks awesome. I changed the title name, so I call it Dargon. Get it? Because it has an AR, Dargon. Yeah, I'm here all week. And I did not do this myself, so let's call this Aero Team. And then I'm going to hit create link. And it's going to actually publish this up to my Creative Cloud account. And once that is published, I could share this out as a link or QR code for people to view on their mobile device. I want to highlight one other thing here too. This estimated project size. This is important to keep low. Obviously, we all know this, but I just want to highlight it because sometimes you forget. The experience is seen on your phone, so it does need to download. So the higher, obviously the heavier the file is, the longer it takes to download. So it can kind of affect your scene there. But if you actually scan this QR code right now if you have an iOS device, it should just go right in and launch the experience. And if I want to send this out to like social channels or someone on the mobile device, I want to text, I can hit copy and I can send this via like Slack or a message to like Ben and say, hey, check out this cool experience. And he'd be able to click on that link and launch it. And that's kind of a whole quick, here's how you create something inside Aero, drink it from the fire hose. So I'm going to exit out of this so I can see if anybody had any questions. We have about 3 minutes to answer questions here.
Yeah, I actually have another QR code I can share for those that QR code might have been smaller. Hold on one sec. Okay. Let me just present this real quick. So if you guys want to try it, this is the fully fleshed out experience that Jay-Z had produced a while back. You can just check it out with the QR code there. So I'll leave that up for a second. You can kind of field any questions that might be there in the meantime. And if not, well, then we can also pass on to Preston, who's going to show off our Ben and Jerry's experience, as well as walk you through a little bit about how that came together with the Substance Suite. So maybe any other questions? Okay. Cool. With that, let's pass it to Preston.
Let's do it. Okay. All right, everyone. So, so I'm going to be kind of talking through the whole Adobe Aero side from the perspective of kind of a client or, somebody that's deving in and wants to dev on the platform. I think the really cool thing is that for everybody here, this is a great tool to kind of just get into AR for the first time. We got a bunch of people in here. I see from different things going on. Like we got Ted Yeager, designer, We have Avery Addison in like a marketing position. We've got some BD people, Scott Hill. So, you know, I think we can safely say that Aero can attack kind of any industry that you want to get into. But yeah, so let's get into it a little bit. So I'm going to share my screen, and I think it cuts me off. Yeah. I guess nobody's here to tell me yes or no, but here, let's go for it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk through the Ben & Jerry's experience that we put together. Oh, look at that. That works. Yeah, so I'm going to show kind of the problem at hand, the idea at hand, and then how we got into it and how we made it work. So obviously, as kind of Ben and Jay-Z alluded to, it's a no-code platform. Now, no-code platforms, like what Jay-Z just did, you know, he put that whole scene together, was really cool. Like, it's this really kind of cinematic, fun thing that you're going to be checking out. But I looked at the problem and said, like, okay, you know, what can we do? Can we make a game out of this? Which, trying to make a game out of a no-code platform, I brought a visual representation of kind of what it did to me. It made me kind of lose my mind because of the fact that there are a billion things that you can do here. So it's really tough. But what's cool is that I'm going to kind of give you guys a little bit of an insight into what I've learned so that hopefully that process, if you do decide to make a game, can actually be super easy. And once we figured it out, it was super easy. I'm going to be kind of talking through this, but I do have chat open. Please ask questions. Please like dump anything in there. And at the end, I will address everything. But yeah, so with Ben & Jerry's, we decided, okay, we want to make a gamification out of this. We've got play animation, we've got click show, click hide, you know, follow. There's not a lot that you can work with there, but the cool thing is if you actually kind of look at the problem and say to yourself, okay, even with those basic interactions, you can make kind of like a gamification out of it. So I'm going to show a little bit of that real fast. So here we go. So we'll tap to continue. Tap to continue. So all of this is like UI based stuff. Now we're presented with touch the spoon. So then the game kind of kicks off. Now it hits us with a hint right off the bat. And so we can say, okay, we understand that we need to click event this. So we click that and we get a little check mark, little positive feedback. I think what's also really cool is that even in the context of all this, we can add other things like make it smaller, make it bigger. Maybe I want to show the next UI, next hint UI, right? So it's actually giving me the next hint for the next button interaction throughout this game to kind of solve this puzzle of building this Sunday maker. So that's super cool. So then if, you know, just going back into the gameplay logic, you know, you click it again. Okay, it's there. I click, I solved it. Okay, I want to know the next hint. Okay, it's over here. I click, I solve. Now, to show just how all this gameplay logic kind of comes together, I'm going to actually fail on this one, which we give a nice little fail, you know, sound effect. And unfortunately, I'm not sharing my sound. But yeah, so I'm just going to click to start this experience. So it's going to chuck the ice cream up. It's going to go into the ice cream scooper, and it's going to throw the ice cream into the thing. But unfortunately, we failed because that was not correct. What's cool is that we're also giving feedback to, oh no, you found and you misplaced some of these things, right? So we can tap to continue the game, or we can actually tap and just watch the entire thing back if we wanted to. But I'm going to continue. I'm not a quitter. I'm going to get this one correct. I'm going to go tap this one as well. And that's actually the end. You'll see the hint button goes away, and now I can tap to start to play the whole thing out, which is super fun. You know, with augmented reality, obviously, you know, the more intricacies you can have as things kind of play around and have some fun, I think it's, you know, obviously just a much more enjoyable experience. Kind of what we do as well is in the scene, we try to make sure that you are really forced to kind of look around and see what's happening. So because it's a full 360 augmented reality experience. So we get the topping in there, which is a big thing for hazelnutting because of the fact that they had whipped cream for the first time. So we're kind of showing that whipped cream is in the experience itself. We have Woody the cow as a little Easter egg that comes in, and then, you know, spray some chocolate on top, and away we go. I think the other cool, really interesting thing about this is that the platform itself allows for a CTA, if you'd like to have in the experience. So now if we actually tap to get it, we're going to be shot off to a Ben & Jerry's based URL to then go shop for that, ice cream, which is super cool. So now let's look at what that took to get there, because it was not simple, right? And what you'll see is I'm very, very, very particular with how I've kind of, put all these layers together. But this is the blueprint that I essentially created. So you can see it's quite dense. It keeps going and going and going. And I think another part that's really kind of impressive about this as well is that each one of these layers goes and goes and goes on and on and on. Now, normally this would be a task that I would be super uncomfortable with, but I think one of the amazing parts about Aero is it's actually insanely performant and really, 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 really reliable. So I knew that going into this, that all of these things would happen and they would happen consistently. And that's really hard to say. It's one of the major benefits of having a no-code platform. So yeah, that was essentially what we were able to mock together and to create using Aero, a full-blown game, right? With a no-code platform that was honestly really, really cool and really fun to make. So I'm going to do one last little thing where I'm going to explain this concept to you guys, just in case anybody here has opened Aero and wants to kind of understand how I was able to pull that off. And that's going to be with this little example that I have. Okay, hold on, please hold. It doesn't like me sharing and doing this. 1 second. Be a good time to check out the chat. Anybody, Wendy, training architecture? Nice. Okay, yeah, any other questions? Yeah, please shoot them off. But yeah, I'm just reopening Aero real fast. Cool. All right, I'm going to share again. And Pat, I know you're in the chat. If you could let me know that you're seeing this, that would be great. I hope we have it. I think we have it. We have it. Okay, cool. So I'm going to do just a quick little explainer on just adding some more of this code to what we got going on here. Just to show you how it works right now. I've got a tap to play button. Oops, sorry. Got a tap to play button. It has a ball. It kind of goes down this little chute. And the idea and the objective that we want to achieve is I want to get it in this bucket. Now, I've done a couple things on the back end of this where I've set up animation events and things like that. So I've already pre-made animation events of this box going to this location, this bucket going to this location, and I pre-baked all the physics of the ball as it kind of jumps down, as you saw before. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to set up the first little puzzle element to this experience, which is this box right here. And that is my box that is fail to win. Now, I very, very particularly like to kind of specifically use my file namings with fail to win and win to fail when doing gameplay logic things like this, because it'll help you not lose your mind in the future. So I've got my fail to win box here. I'm going to add an event for this, right? I'm going to add a tap event. So when I touch this box, I needed to do an action. Now, I've already preset some animation to it, so it will go into its second location, so the ball will actually bounce off that. So now that I have that, when this finishes, right? So this animation plays out, you can actually go ahead and hide this item. And one thing Jay-Z taught me, which is super, super, super important, is that when you're in the same tree of logic here, they kind of happen right after each other and there will not be a break like there will be a break here. So that's really good for hiding and showing or things like this box. So now I want to show the win to fail box, right? So I'm going to show that. And what I'm going to do also is that you've got these really cool effects here, like scale and fade that you can do. I like to take these to 0 seconds, so it's an instant swap. And that really helps with gameplay logic things so that it doesn't look like anything actually happened. In that previous example, we're flickering things on and off all the time, but you're not actually seeing that happen. So now we've got a box going from fail to win. We're hiding them. And then the last element to this, and this is probably the most important, are these buttons, right? So I've got 4 different buttons that are here, and they're going to trigger different animation states for this ball. So it's going to have the different ways that it's supposed to be going. So now, because I'm just doing the no touch, I want to grab this and I want to hide this real quick, right? And then what I want to do is, because I know that I've just moved the box, I want to show just the box UI. So now what that's going to do is it's going to get rid of the button that was triggering the animation effect to only do the animation of nothing happening. And now when I do it, right, let's give it a try. And if I mess this up, the beautiful thing about Aero is we can go back and swap it out quickly. Is that now when I touch this, it goes into its location, and now jumping off of that. And there we go. So I've added a small piece of gameplay logic to this that I can now, as you can tell, right, I can keep iterating on this. I can add something to the bucket. I can try to, I can add different UI effects that tell me, okay, now I've swapped in the good piece from the bad piece by just going into that same box trigger animation effect that I created and just doing a swap out. So it's very, very easy. Yeah, I think that's about it. I mean, that's the basis of how you can get gameplay logic to work. It's kind of the basis of how we had the entire Ben and Jerry's experience come together. And like I said, it's just super, it's super efficient and it's super reliable so that you can keep testing these things out, keep previewing, keep playing, and the deving goes together quite quickly from that. So real quick, I know that was a lot. Are there any questions, anything anybody wants to address, any other things that could come up?
I think we can also go ahead and share the QR code for the Ben and
Oh
Jerry's.
yeah, that'd be great. I'll share the QR. You got it? Okay, great.
Yeah, I can put it up. One sec. Just so everybody can get a chance to try it. One sec. And yeah, we'd love to just hear your reactions, what you all think of AppClip, anything like that. Can everybody see it okay? The QR code and things like that?
Yeah, perfect.
But yeah, I definitely encourage you to give it a shot. Let us know what you think. We're really excited about what's coming for Aero in 2023. So please, sign up for our pre-release forums. You'll get early access to the latest code or the latest software. And there's just a lot of really, really exciting things coming together for 2023 that I wish I could share. And we will certainly get a chance to hopefully be here again sometime soon talking about the latest and greatest.
Hey, Ben, I just want to piggyback on that real quick, too. You can actually find Aero inside your Creative Cloud application underneath 3D and AR, and it's a beta version. So right now it is actually free to install. So it's really welcoming to kind of download and play and see what you create with it.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's part of Creative Cloud right now. So, go ahead and play around with it. It's free to use, free to publish. And we really just want to, get feedback from the community of augmented reality developers out there and let us know what we can do to make this the best way to create and distribute AR.
100%.
All right. Well, we got one question here from Ted. Ted is asking, can you have a button that changes functions with each press?
Yeah, so that's kind of the ultimate idea of what I did there, right? So each button was kind of a function of its own self, and what's beautiful is that you can kind of call each function by showing and hiding one of those buttons, right? So that was kind of the aha moment that I had, where I stopped looking like Charlie Day on that whiteboard trying to figure out how I was going to make all this come together. It was like, okay, I can swap out these buttons. And I think one of the important things you can do also is that you can actually stack buttons on themselves. The raycast logic inside of Aero is super efficient, super reliable for the way that those layers work when you have transparencies. So if you layer them down, you can even hide them out, each one in a row, which makes that super convenient as well.
Nice. And then I think one thing that is just a bit of a side question, but I know you used Substance 3D for basically all the materials on the project, right, Preston? Do you want to give just like a quick snap of what that is and how it was kind of implemented for the project and how other developers here could potentially use it?
Yeah, totally. So I think that's the cool thing about the Adobe suite in general as well. They've got everything from modeler to Substance tools and everything else under the moon. So that means that you can go in. I used Maya personally for this, but we had our models. We made them in Maya. We UV'd them how they should be UV'd, and then we threw them into Substance Painter. In Substance Painter, we actually just had everything weathered the way that we wanted it. And then from there, we exported it out of Babylon. I think that's also another really big thing to think about. For exporting the GLBs and the GLTFs that we used for the experience, we actually definitely used Babylon out of Maya, and that worked really, really well. So if you run into any problems, I would highly suggest that workflow. But yeah, we went into Substance Painter, made every texture that way. It was it's really good for adding consistency, look and feel wise. One thing you'll notice about the B&J experience is that it has the same look and feel across the entire thing. So I kind of feel like if you use Painter in that way, the consistency is great.
Yeah, and I just want to emphasize again, kind of the uniqueness of this app clips thing, because it really does mean you're getting native performance, which obviously for those of you who might have played around with web AR in the past, that can be a little hit or miss potentially. And so it's really great that we have a way to distribute these kind of native optimized apps in a way that's super seamless. So I hope everybody kind of starts to see the power of app clip.
Yeah. As I'm sure there's a lot of developers in here that have had the pains of using web and AR together. There are many of them, but getting that native scanning and kind of tracking tech in there with it being an app clip that can launch through the browser is crazy.
And Benjamin has said that he's never worked with Aero, but he's going to give it a try, which is awesome. And I see Jay-Z dropped his email in there, but maybe Ben or Jay-Z, if people that are listening today want to give Aero a try, start to kind of experiment and get their hands dirty, what do they need to do? Where do they go get Aero? What's kind of the first steps?
Yeah, so it lives inside Creative Cloud. So I assume most people here are probably Creative Cloud users if you're out there in the community. And so if you go into your Creative Cloud, I believe it's just right now, I believe it's just in the beta section for getting the desktop version. And then also if you want to try out, it actually might just be in the 3D and AR section now that I'm looking at Creative Cloud. So go ahead and check out the beta. The other thing that we didn't really touch on in this demo is that there's also full authoring on the iOS mobile app. So you can create the experience that Jay-Z just created for you today. You could also be creating on an iPad on the go. You could be creating on your phone. And so that's really one of those powerful things. And we just got a question about Instant App for Android. That is like our #1 priority right now, and it will be coming very soon. So that is by far one of the most important things we recognize that we need to get done, and we're working on it. We're really excited to get it out there. And I'm also popping my email in the chat as well. I'm very much here to help facilitate really cool projects utilizing Aero. So if anybody's working on something and they're like, man, Aero is the perfect solution for me, please reach out and we might be able to help you amplify it or kind of find ways to help. So please feel free to reach out.
Yeah, and also Preston, if anybody wanted to kind of just get a hold of you and get into the logic tree that you created and kind of get into what's possible, want to drop your email in there and so folks can reach out? Sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially, honestly, finding me on LinkedIn is the best approach because I'll usually answer there. And yeah, I would love to help out in any of your Aero dev journeys because I do think it's going to be big for next year.
And Wendy, I noticed you mentioned working large scale with architecture and stuff. Ping me on email. Architecture is something we're really interested in. I'd love to talk to you more about that.
Cool.
Great. And appreciate everybody getting involved on the chat. I guess before we wind down, are there any last thoughts, questions, considerations, surprises that anybody wants to add? And by the way, I think that just in case, like the chat function, if you click the on the side of your panel there, just in case anybody hasn't seen it, you have that little live chat button there on the right side. So Well, fantastic. I think that is all the questions for this show. I know that Wendy's already been asking about wanting to rewatch it, which will be great. It's going to be live. People can go rewatch Jay-Z and Preston's presentations and try to get some inspiration. And yeah, I think that's our show for the evening. Ben, Jay-Z, thank you so much for coming around and spending your time with the AWE community, showing the latest and greatest from Aero and the fantastic projects that can be created with it. And thank you, Preston, for coming through and showing your magic. I'll be seeing you a call later tonight. Yeah, thanks everybody again for coming out. And once again, if you just want to on social hashtag AWE Nite SF, share your experience from tonight, share Aero with your friends. And also you can find us at Rock Paper Reality, Rock Reality on Twitter, and then just search Rock Paper Reality in LinkedIn and we will pop up. But thank you everybody. We will, I guess this is the end of the year, so happy holidays to you all. We'll be seeing you again in the new year. Got tons of great shows lined up and really excited for another year of AWE and also seeing some of you in person again. Like I said, we've actually got some live person shows that will be coming back in the Bay Area. We will live stream them as well because I know we've made a lot more friends around the world since we've gone virtual. And yeah, thank you again for all the support and look forward to seeing you all again soon.
Thanks, everybody.
Awesome.
All right.
Bye. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Adios.